Welcome everybody. It's me, your host TT with Intuitive Minds Already Know. How's everybody's weekend? Yeah, getting outside. I spent most of my day visiting with a friend, and I'm just gonna turn this a little. And we were just sitting outside in our okay, why can't I move this? Hang on a second, folks. My tripod is, okay, well, I guess that's gonna do. We were just sitting outside and we were grounding. We had our lawn chairs out and I worked on this book and I worked on my bio for the deck. I think I have all the words put together for the deck, so that's exciting. The event last Saturday went well. We made some connections and we sold some stuff, and Travis and I each had one client, so we put our name out there and we updated our business cards and we bought a banner with our logo on it. So we are moving up and out, folks. Hello, Amanda. All right, pay attention, folks, because I am doing the July promo again, where if you comment at the end of every live that I do, regardless of the topic, I'll say the Q word that you need to comment in the comments, and then your name will go in for a drawing for a discounted session, either with me or Travis or both. I do oracle cards, and I'm a journaling mentor, spiritual coach, I guess I was told recently. So I'm gonna run with it. And Travis is a Reiki practitioner, and he also does the shaman style of journeys. So if you're interested in either one of those and you would like a discount, make sure you watch the video to the end and comment. Okay, so we have a lot to go through. I did chapter 6 today, and I have like 2.5 pages of notes, and I want to try to go through everything that I underlined and circled because that just stood out, and Spirit told me you need to say this stuff. So right off the bat, hello Jody. Jody Lynn Jody. I like that. Right off the bat, I'm going to pull an opening card. It's from the Spirit Junkie, and they have oracle card decks on Temu, just so you know. I have not ordered one yet, so I don't know the quality. They are very inexpensive. They are like, I don't know, a quarter of the price that you would spend on Amazon. And they have a lot of ones from Colette Baron-Reid. They have this one on Temu. So if you're gutsy, buy an oracle card and then review it on here. All right, I'm going to pick a card for the opening card deck for this chapter 6 of the Self-Love Workbook that we've been working on so diligently. I know you all have been committed to this. So the chapter tonight is self-kindness. All right, what's the card say? What's the card say? The difficult relationships in my life are the perfect mirror for me to look more closely at my own behavior. Wow, does that bitch slap me in the face? That's what I've been working on lately, is me. Me. Try to focus on me. I cannot control others. The difficult relationships in my life are the perfect mirror for me to look more closely at my own behavior. I like that. Because sometimes we are a projection. And we're like, why are they acting that way? Well, you know, you're projecting. So, all right, folks. We also, I'm going to talk fast because I really want to pull 3 cards at the end out of this book, the Enchanted map. I want to pull 3 cards at the end. So let's just dive right in, okay? If you have the book, feel free to, or it doesn't matter if you don't have the book, but if you have the book, we're going to start out with page 99 and chime in. This is a safe space. I encourage, recommend, and beg for you to comment and interact, okay? That's what this is for. All right, so chapter 6 is all about self-kindness. Self-kindness is the skill of being friendly to yourself. Self-kindness is associated with happiness, optimism, curiosity, consciousness, yes, intrinsic motivation, emotional intelligence, and well-being. Self-kindness can be helpful in reducing stress, anxiety, self-criticism, avoidance, and depression. It can include how you tend to attend to your needs and practice self-care. It affects your approach to thoughts and feelings, prompts, or situations. Your kindness is also demonstrated in times in which you are faced with hurdles. During such times, treating yourself with care instead of judgment and criticism is a crucial act of self-love. Let me read that again. Treating yourself with care instead of judgment and criticism is a crucial act of self-love. If you have to stop watching now, that is like the epic, epitomal, the main focus point tonight is those words. Self-kindness is the balance you strive between being dedicated to personal growth, yet mindful of the need to be accepting, compassionate, patient, and grateful along the way. So I have down here, there's an assignment right away. It says, think about the definition of self-kindness and how are you nice to you? I wrote down, by allowing enough self-respect and self-worth to put myself and my happiness first before others. And then page 99, it talks about how to leave like nice notes. So like little love notes for yourself. And I wrote down, talk about creative ways to give yourself nice notes. Find ways that work for you. I like to pull cards. I like to buy a lot of these like affirmation like decks that we just used. There's another one, the Dreamers deck, 40 affirmation. I like to buy these decks because they're short, they're sweet, and they just kind of set my day. You can take these to work with you. I also have like a calendar that I flip, and that helps me kind of focus on like a new topic for every day. What else do I do? I kind of pray before I go into work. Does anybody else do that? Comment on here if you guys do that. It really has helped me with, there is such a negative energy in the air. And even for us positive intuitive folks, it's very easy to get sucked in if we kind of sway from what we know we should practice and what we know when we practice that diligently, that it works. So stay optimistic, folks, and do whatever you need to do to pull your ass out of that negative, funky energy, all right? Watch these lives. Watch these lives. That's why I do them, because it helps me stay out of that negative bubble that is just so exploding lately with all kinds of propaganda and corruptive control. Don't get me started. All right. Download an app. I also have an app called I Am, and I love it because it goes off like every hour, and you can set what times and how often you want it to go through, and it'll give you a nice affirmation. And the best part is if you're a journaler like me, it lets you create your own affirmations. So if there's like a mantra or a song you heard, you can take those words and you can write your own. So that's another thing. Then the homework. So homework already for page 101 is a love letter. It is a love letter. Self-love cannot happen without kindness. As you practice being kind to yourself, your love for yourself will surely grow as well. As your love grows for someone else, it becomes natural and sometimes expected to profess your feelings. Although you may recognize that self-love is important, you may not consider articulating your self-love. So that's like kind of where the people-pleasing comes in. So we're satisfying everybody's needs, and we're filling everybody's cup, and we're people-pleasing everybody else, and then we lose sight of how we are supposed to be, balancing that out with reciprocation. We have to love ourselves as well. So I wrote my letter. It also talks it like on page 102, there's more ways to encourage yourself. I wrote down, do things that I like. That helps me with self-kindness. just to be able to put myself first and go, you know what? I'm going to spend like all day in my craft room because that's where I zen the best. Do things you think you're good at. Do something you've never done before. Practice silence and solitude. I did that outside. I just sat in my chair, grounded my feet in the ground. I was under the shade. I was listening to the birds. Awesome. Do more hobbies. If you don't have a hobby, explore opportunities and explore new things so that you can have a hobby. Or if you don't know what you like, there are tons of events where you can go and experience things that people already like. And make a list of all the things that you have accomplished. That is self-kindness. All right, page 103, I'm told to read. It's the bully versus the friend. Friendship with oneself is all important because without it, one cannot be friends with anyone else in the world. Unchecked negative thoughts can link together to create a powerful inner voice. We talked about that. When this happens, your inner dialogue may be impulsive, aggressive, controlling, argumentative, and manipulative. I'm going to add one more word, reactive, because that's me. When I get in my negative Hollywood head of scenarios, I'm very reactive. I have a little ADD and a little OCD. So when something is on my mind and it keeps playing, I want to react too. So I am learning to be less reactive and more calm. Pausing. Pause, 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 folks. Pause, breathe, really think about what you want to say. And if you don't, just start writing it down. Then it says, this is really interesting. I like this homework on page 103 because it says, consider the characteristics of a bully. What are some things you may have said in the past to bully yourself? So then I wrote down a couple things. And then it says, if you heard someone saying these things, how would you respond to your friend? And then it says, in order to transform your inner tone, what promise do you need to make yourself? In order to maintain this promise, what do you need to do? What do you need more of? What do you need less of? So it was very interesting going through this because I think we need to realize how we treat other people. And if we treat other people way better than ourselves, we need to start listening and start being aware of how we treat others. If we treat them really good, and if we stick up for them, we need to also stick up for ourselves. Does that make sense? Oh, okay. Page 105. Talk about manifesting. So this is letting go of negativity. Your self-talk is the inner dialogue that you have in your mind. You've learned the impact of negative thoughts and practiced transforming them to kinder statements. Sometimes the process of challenging an unhelpful thought. Now, I'm going to stop right there because I have also heard this alternative word for negative thoughts. And they're unhelpful because negative is a negative term. And we try to keep things positive here. So in order to stay out of that negative kind of shame mode, this book, and I've heard it before, so it makes a lot of sense, we change negative to unhelpful, okay? Let's see. Sometimes the process of challenging an unhelpful thoughts, easier said than, Sometimes the process of challenging an unhealthy thought is easier said than done. We tend to have blind spots, which you talked about in other chapters, and obstacles that make it more difficult to be kind to ourselves, even when we know that being nice to ourselves is the healthier, self-loving options. For whatever reason you might have trauma in your life, you might have physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse. You might have been told that your feelings don't matter, or you just were not displayed in your family a healthy communication process. And so the whole idea of having your thoughts and self-worth was never embraced. That can be hard. That can be a hard an obstacle to get through, but it is possible. That's why we're doing this book. This is a really good one on page 105. It says, have you noticed any trends in your negative self-talk? And I talked about that in the beginning, where we kind of get sucked into the common negative, you know. What are the areas in which you would like to show yourself less criticism? And then on page 106, it talks about the room for growth. And it wants you to highlight some of the things that you would like for growth. Now, I like to call it, when people start doing the negative self-talk, and I do this a lot at work. So if you work with me, you can vouch for it. Like when somebody starts shaming themselves at work, or, oh, I fucked up, or I messed this up, or I could have done this better. I always like to say there's always room for improvement, you know. Failing and screwing up, you know, basically you kind of got to look at it where it's on purpose. Like, what was the message? You know, do I need to slow down? Was I doing this thing too fast? Did I act too fast? What are my thought processes? Do I need to like look at things a little differently with a different perspective? There's always room for improvement. And I looked up the word, an acronym, and it said that FAIL, F-A-I-L, was frequently ascending in life. So that's really not a mistake. When we fail, it's basically pain on purpose. And you hear me talk about that a lot if you watch me before, that pain is on purpose. So when we fail, we are making an opportunity for us to go, okay, what was the lesson? And how can I learn from this so that if this particular thing happens in the past, how can I react to it and deal with it better for me? What is a better outcome? We are doing good, folks. Okay, page 107. I have read the first sentence. Okay. Self-kindness is the practice of recognizing your capacity for growth, yet being gracious to yourself as you fill that gap. You do not need to judge yourself in negativity as you acknowledge the void. For example, I have room for growth in my leadership skills. However, I recently gained the courage at work to volunteer to be a team captain in our upcoming group task. I am also trying to be more assertive as I recognize my words are valuable. Although I have room for growth in this area, a positive quality is that I want to make sure that everyone is heard and cooperative. So the homework on page 107, I am so thirsty today. It says, choose 3 opportunities that you want to have growth in. So I wrote, so on the left side it says, I have room for growth in. And I wrote being patient in the healing phase of my relationship. Then on the right it says, however, I will remind myself of my needs and how I deserve to have those met. And then this next part down, it asks you again, I have room for growth in, and I put my independence as an individual. However, maintaining the importance and commitment of reciprocating. So you see how that goes? Okay. Setbacks. Setbacks are an inevitable part of life, like a dance. We go through our journey trying our best to move forward. However, sidesteps and backtracking are due to be expected. Yet during these moments, we can become self-critical, judgmental, and mean to ourselves. If we manage to be understanding, compassionate, and kind instead, we can empower ourselves to propel forward on our path once again. And I wrote down some notes of my own. Acknowledging that everything happens for a reason. So we talk about this a lot if you follow me. Sometimes things happen because we unknowingly manifest our own negative reality. Let that sit a while. So if you are constantly saying, oh, we don't have enough time, and we don't have enough money, and my kids are so disrespectful, if you keep acknowledging those things, that's exactly what you're going to get. So why not try reversing it and say, we will use our money wisely. My kids, so I saw something about, how would you change that to have your kids less, when you want to say like the kids are disrespectful. So say, I will teach my children how to be more how to be more respectful. So that's a way to take your negative and reverse it into a positive. And that's like huge in the power of positivity. There's a video on that. That is what I recommend to start out with. Just start reversing when you catch yourself in a negative sentence, because you're manifesting that reality. And the more you say negative talk and the more you say, I can't and I don't want to, those are the things that you're going to get, because that's what the universe is listening. It doesn't recognize if it's positive or negative. It just recognizes what it is. So if you want it to happen, then put it in the universe that you are gonna, like, it's gonna happen, all right? Sometimes when we rush to get our, oh, this is on patience. So, 109. Okay, so sometimes when we rush to get to our goals, we bypass certain situations that we are destined to experience because there is an important lesson to be learned or something that needs to be healed. And that is the page 109, and that's self-patience. Impatience can serve as a hurdle in self-kindness. When you are eager to grow, you may lack the tolerance for waiting. And that's what I wrote here. So, for instance, I have an example. When I first started my journey, I was so excited to learn all about embracing my ability with intuition and doing the oracle cards and getting more practice. And so I was moving so fast and I was doing all these readings, and I kept getting, time and time again, when I would pull cards for myself, I would always get the slow and steady wins the race. And it kept coming in any deck I would use. And it was telling me that I need to be calmer and I need to slow down. Well, that all happened last year when I had an injury. And last fall, the end of summer last fall, I pulled a neck muscle and I literally couldn't do anything. Like my hands, I had pain in both my arms and in my neck. So I basically had to sit and do nothing. Well, Spirit gave me that opportunity to pull cards from my multiple oracle card decks, and I would interpret them, and then I would write them down and either post them on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. So what happened is I had all this content to write, to create an oracle card deck. So that is how this oracle card deck that I'm getting ready to publish, how it birthed, all right? So that's kind of interesting how the universe will slow you down because it wants you to experience something. So listen to the universe, all right? Self-patience. Then it lists, the homework is, in what areas do you need to practice patience? I wrote down letting go of the illusion that I can control others by how I feel. All right, let that bake your noodle. Letting go of the illusion that we control others by how we feel. So if we're sad, don't think for a minute that is going to make 1 ounce of difference to everybody. It might, your kids might see you cry and, they might feel empathy, but, know that those are your feelings. And just because you tell somebody your feelings, do not expect them to understand how you feel, to feel the same way, or expect them to do anything about it. You're just expressing your emotions, all right? What helps your self-patience? I wrote down acceptance of me, myself, completely, 100%. Having 100% responsibility of my thoughts, words, and actions, and observing, then reacting, not the opposite, not reacting, then try to backpedal and then observe, because it's too late. You've already done the damage, especially if you reacted in a negative way to that person. What are the signs that you are becoming impatient? I wrote down, I get judgy, I get anxious, I get bitchy, and I get distracted, and then I get lazy. So I need to pay attention to my behaviors, because it's usually when, when I need to bring myself back to center. The next topic, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? The next topic we're going to talk about is perfection. And I wrote down some of my own thoughts, but the book says, a common trap that can bar your self-kindness is striving for perfection. Nothing and no one is perfect. Aiming for an impossible standard can trick you into believing that you are failing when in reality you could be making wonderful strides. To practice embracing imperfection, consider your wellness domain on page 53. So I looked back and I found creativity. And to practice shunning perfectionism, you may simply choose to draw a line over, scribble over, or block out the word. So I crossed out my word. I crossed out my word perfect. I crossed it out, completely crossed it out. And then I wrote down, there is room only for opportunities to learn and grow. Perfection does not exist. I also wrote down, allow yourself to achieve what's possible without judgment. That can be your perfectness. That can be your perfect. That can be, so instead of like really trying to focus on, say you're like painting a picture or whatever, and you want it to be perfect because you're thinking that it has to be perfect for the outside world. All right. But let's say you have two different versions. So you have your perfect version, which is hanging on the wall, and you're looking at it and you go, oh, my lines are perfect. I'm in the lines and the colors match and they're blended perfectly. And then you have the not so perfect version. And you notice that like, oh, there's like people looking at it differently and commenting about, oh, look how this is like kind of shady and faded and it's like not perfect. So here you spent all that time trying to perfect this because that's what you thought people would be impressed with. When really what they really are impressed with is the fact that there's little flaws. And so let other people make their own perception. You know, you don't have to be their perfect because everybody's version of perfect is different. All right, so let's just leave that word completely out of it. I wrote down some things. Perfection is setting a limit. So if we remove the idea or possibility of something being perfect, we are able to a bigger and better picture. By removing perfection, we open up more potential of possibilities. I like that. That's for my next deck, because my next deck is going to be all about these little short bursts of positivity and affirmation. That's my next deck. Perfection is narrow-minded. Perfection is one-sided. When you practice perfection, you neglect the perception of how others will see you. You limit the box of how they are to see you. Okay? Remember that. You limit them. You don't want the limits. All right? So that is a good one. I like that. Focus on the homework on page 110. That is really, really important. Oh, we're doing good here, folks. Perfectionism is really a shield we use to avoid being hurt by others, but what it really does is it stops us from being seen. It puts us in a box of limitations. That's where aiming for excellence is more healthier than a healthier approach. It's realistically allowing ourselves to do our best, not society's best, our best. Perfection is someone else's best, all right? I like that. Okay, we are moving right along. Guess I want to do cards. Self-acceptance. Your self-acceptance is a process in which you acknowledge and embrace both your strengths and weaknesses. It is a personal yet realistic point of view in which you find happiness in your strong suits, but also achieve contentment with your limitations. Finding self-acceptance can help to shield you from self-judgment and release you from things you cannot control. So, self-acceptance. Radical self-acceptance. We've talked about that before on this channel. Radical self-acceptance. That is accepting like everything about you. Your flaws, your mini flaws, your major flaws, your mini strengths, your major strengths. You accept it all and you focus on maybe focus on the things that you know you're really good at, but also leave room for improvement for the things that need. I'm gonna not say what you're not good at, but you're developing developing better skills at that. Okay. So I wrote down in the first box, you're supposed to describe a negative trait. So what was the word that was used? What was the word? Unhelpful. I forgot already. Unhelpful. So an unhelpful trait that you may have. So I did obsessiveness. And then you're supposed to, in the second box, write a counter that embodies self-acceptance. So how are you going to accept the fact that you're obsessive, that you possess or you portray obsessiveness? I wrote down the fact that I know my weakness helps me navigate away from that unhelpful part. And then the second one is in the box, what do you, room for growth. So something you want to work on. And I wrote down patience. I have a strong, so then I wrote down how am I going to do that? Or write a counter that embodies self-acceptance. So I wrote down, I have a strong drive and desire to learn ways to be more patient. All right. So I want to really plug along these next few pages because I want to pull cards. But this one chapter is dear to my heart because it's about self-forgiveness. And forgiveness is an essential step in permitting yourself to let go of negative past occurrence. It is not to be confused with excusing, condoning, minimizing, or ignoring. Instead, as a self-loving act, self-forgiveness allows you to learn from your previous experiences, accept 110% responsibility, take 110% accountability, and set your intentions to learn and grow in the future. Self-forgiveness can be a difficult process as both the forgiver and the forgivee are within you. Another hurdle in self-forgiveness is reconciliation. Avoiding self-forgiveness comes with consequences. The inability to forgive yourself has been associated with anxiety, depression, and a weakened immune system. On the other hand, choosing to forgive yourself or someone else can decrease the negative effects of guilt, demonstrate your respect for yourself, and allow you to foster your growth. I wrote down a couple things. It lets go of the shame, blame, and guilt, and the what ifs. It's a chance to set aside your anger, your disappointment, your resentment, and your expectations not met, and find a place of peace for yourself. That's what self-forgiveness means to me. Now, if you have never done a forgiveness ceremony with me, reach out to me and I can do one or walk you through one. But if you choose not to, this page in here is amazing. I didn't do the self-forgiveness the first time I did this book. Like I said, I only got to, I don't even remember what chapter. So I am doing this book with you as you do it wholeheartedly every week. So this is really interesting. So think of the time when you struggled to forgive yourself. So I wrote down. Then the next question, what made it difficult for you to forgive yourself in this situation? Write it down. What can you take accountability for in that situation? What was beyond your control in that situation? What lesson did you learn from that situation? What do you need to do in order to begin to let this situation go? And how does this forgiveness relate to your self-love practice? And then it lists, I forgive myself for, I know that I was blank, in the future blank, I forgive myself because. So that is a great template to use if you would like to write yourself a forgiveness letter and then burn it. We do a forgiveness ceremony here at the house. Excuse me. We did a virtual one here, and I want to do another one because I did it in the event and I didn't get a lot of viewers. So I think I'm just gonna do the live and not do it in the event. All right. Oh, and then also what's good for in addition to a forgiveness ceremony is a cord cutting ceremony. And that can be done like, you can do it like through yourself if you can really tap into meditation. Otherwise, you can actually work with a Reiki practitioner. And or there's probably numerous cord cutting meditation tracks online. I just kind of went in and my intuition kind of walked me through my own. And it was pretty cool. So the gifts of gratitude. We're at the last page of the chapter 6, the gift of gratitude. Practicing thankfulness can be a practical tool in promoting self-kindness. Begin gratitude from within yourself by highlighting something that you appreciate about yourself. Make a list if you have to. The kindness evoked from gratitude can emanate outward as well. For example, you may wish to acknowledge someone who has been caring to you, or may be grateful for the community that you live in. I wrote down, I am thankful for the patience and grace I give to myself, and I am grateful for the patience and grace my husband gives to me. Self-kindness is the compassionate practice of being a good friend to yourself. Just as you would stand up for a friend who is feeling sad, disrespected, or inadequate, you have the power to assure yourself as well. When you choose to be kinder to yourself, you diminish your tolerance for self-inflicted negativity. Or what was the word? What was the word? What's the word? My memory is just blank. Was it unhealthy? Yes, unhealthy. Let's make sure. I put a big, hold on folks. I put a big square around it. Why can't I find it? Unhelpful. Unhelpful. Let's read that again. Okay. When you choose to be kinder to yourself, you diminish your tolerance for self-inflicted unhelpfulness. Your view on unhelpfulness and positivity may shift altogether. The kinder you are to yourself, the easier it is to allow positive statements to flow and nourish your soul. You are also able to create space to humbly defy perfection while you patiently practice acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude. I love that last part. How is everybody doing? We went through that chapter really super fast. I recommend getting this book if you have not already. Hello, Kim. I recommend getting this book if you have not already. There's so much homework in it. And honestly, if you have like a couple hours, you can, on Sundays is when I do it. So, all right, we're going to pull some cards. And for the last 20 minutes, because I like to keep this under an hour, we're just going to pull cards and we're going to ask Spirit to give us messages through these cards for the collective regarding self-kindness. What needs to be revealed to us today as a collective to practice more self-kindness and to learn more about self-kindness, right? So we're going to pull 3 cards real quick. Oh, into the unknown, rock bottom, and home. We always get this home card, which is cool. It's just been coming up the last couple times I've been reading it. So we have this number 7, into the unknown. And she's blindfolded. And then we have rock bottom, which if you noticed, like, this is kind of the same as upside down. So whichever way you look at it, rock bottom is still rock bottom. But the best thing about rock bottom is there's only one way to go up. All right, and then home, number 27. Oh, this is 10 or 1, and then this is home. Okay, so I will read one from the book, only one chapter, one thing from the book. So into the unknown. As I look at this, she has like this key with wings, right? Oh gosh, I need to get one of those cameras. Do you guys see it? You can hardly see it on here. Oh, it's right there. Okay. That is the key. It's a key with wings. And she also has like a star next to it. And are those like, they look like hearts, but they kind of look like butterflies almost. Oh, there's a rainbow. So she has her blindfolds on. So because she has the blindfolds on, we just talked about blind spots. She's kind of like going like this, like, okay, what do you do in the dark? What do we do when we can't see in the dark? We use our other senses. So this card is telling us that to allow yourself to kind of step outside yourself a little bit, and to also step inward though. Step forward. Step out, but step forward. Does that make sense? And it's all about perspective. And she can't see anything. So she can't see what, like if people are watching her or if there's people out there. And so we're kind of like not judging anything. She can't see anybody judging her, and she cannot see anything to judge herself. So there's actually zero comparison right here. And that is about self-kindness. Like, stop judging others, stop judging yourself. There's no comparison. I like that. So that's what she's looking. She's looking into the unknown. On purpose. Definitely on purpose. And I like that there's little hearts, because that's the Self-Love Workbook. I like that. The next one is 10. Rock bottom. What do you think this means, folks? How do you guys interpret this? Does it look like this? Does it look like this? Oh, look at this. Okay, so, okay, it's just, they're both the same path. It's just that this has the sign across it. But either way you look at it, bottom is still bottom. Bottom is still bottom. All right, how am I going to interpret that? The bottom is still the bottom. Well, like I said, when you're down on your luck and you feel like you don't have anybody supporting you and you're, woe me, at the end of the day, who do you still have? You have yourself. And look at, there's like, this is like when you're, in the mud and it, like the mud puddle, and then it cracks. So like, are you able to break free, like an eggshell? Are you able to like break out of your shell and start realizing that I don't like it at rock bottom anymore? It's pretty lonely and dark there. So the only way to get out of rock bottom, and the best part is you get to go up. There is only one way out of rock bottom, and that's up. So no more pity parties. I like that. Okay. So new perspective, and stop woe mean. Let's be proud of who we are. Okay, the home. And number 27. No, I see the little owl right away, and that's wisdom. So that is using our experiences to push us forward with motivation and momentum. And because there's a little fairy in here, like anything is possible. Because really there could, I think there's fairies out there. Oh, and there's still time. There's still time to make a difference with yourself. There's still time to like let go. But the door is not, it's closed. So I'm feeling like the door is closed because you've been kind of in safe mode for so long. Oh, look, it says welcome life on here. It's about time. Use your wisdom. It's about time to realize anything's possible with the fairies. I like that. I like that. All right. I think I want to read out of the book this one. Okay? And if you're still watching, the word that you're cued to put in the comments is kindness. Okay. So, into the unknown. Trust and all will be revealed. Life is an adventure, and often new opportunities will arrive that you won't know how to deal with. This is one of those times. You're required to trust that this new phase will reveal wonders and miracles as you step into unknown territory. Do you feel like you're in unknown territory when you practice self-love? Does that feel, that might feel awkward to some of you. That might feel very, you might feel insecure because you're dealing with, you're actually giving yourself permission to allow yourself to be first. And that is really scary and really awkward and really new for some people. But I highly recommend and encourage that you need to do this. Like, everybody needs to do this. So just start out small. You don't have to like jump in balls deep. Just start small. Imagine that you are not only a pathfinder, but a path maker. Whatever your inquiry, trust that you'll be safe. Okay, with the door. Stay aware as you discover new and marvelous territories and valuable treasures. I like that. Okay, we have time, so I want to read Rock Bottom. Now, this is all, the word is kindness. So Amanda and Jody and Kim, if you're watching, comment in the comments kindness, and your name will go in for the drawing. Okay, 10. Surrender and acceptance are the keys to freedom. Oh, she has keys here. As difficult as it may be to accept, it seems that you've reached a point where you can go no further in the same manner in which you've been doing things. Perhaps you've hit a proverbial brick wall or experienced a deep sense of loss and don't know where to turn. The old way of doing things must be discarded fully in order to move onward and upward. We said that. Outward, 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 and you look outward, but forward. A new direction and a new strategy are called for. The only way out is through surrender. Accept things as they are, accept who you are, and admit that you have no idea what to do next. If you wait in that heartfelt moment of release, then a stairway will appear like magic, and all manner of synchronicities will show you the way to higher ground. The rock bottom card is a sign that a miracle is about to occur, but only if you let go completely. Ooh, I like that. All right, we have time, so let's read the last one. I said I wasn't going to, but you know what? I changed my mind, and I can do that. All right. You are comfortable in your own skin. You belong. Oh, so that's like the end result when you practice self-love. Peace, security, safety, belonging, and all the features one would want from home are indicated now. This card represents an invitation to experience what it's like to be secure in your own skin, to live comfortably no matter what is happening in the world around you. It is time for opening your eyes. See? Opening your eyes after this. Opening your eyes to your tribe of like-minded people, or one special person who makes you feel like you've come home. You, yourself. Home is love, and love is all around you now. Whatever your inquiry, you are where you're meant to be, and will reap great benefits by staying on this path, regardless of where it leads. Home will always be with you. It is where the heart is. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, tired. All right, folks. The next chapter. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, comment on here kindness, because that's what the word is. And on Wednesday, the topic, we're going to pull cards again. We'll do the 5-card pull. I like doing that. It's been working out very well. So we'll do that. What else was I going to say? Wednesday. It will not be this. Will it be this one? No, it will not be this Wednesday. It will be, I believe it will be Thursday, because I have a session on Wednesday. So it'll be Thursday. So the 5-card draw will be Thursday. Oh, I know what. I was going to tell you what chapter 7 is on in the book. So chapter 7 is on self-respect. So read that. Do chapter 6. And then you can also start on chapter 7. Oh, there's a lot of homework. Ooh, there's a lot of homework in chapter 7. But do your best. Ooh, there's a boundary one. Ooh, excuse me. There's a boundary one. Ooh, assertiveness, testing boundaries, healthy boundaries. Ooh, this is a good one. Holy cow, this is long. Wow. This is a big one. We might be separating this into 2 sessions, folks, because there is a lot of pages in here. We'll have to see how many pages I get. All right, folks. I thank you all for watching. Make sure you comment here on the word. The word is kindness, and your name will go into the drawing. Everybody, have a good week. I love you. See you Thursday.